After finishing MiSide, I've got a few thoughts and theories I wanted to share. I'll be getting pretty deep into the weeds though, so if you haven't finished MiSide, you may want to switch off this video when you see the spoiler sign appear, and then come back after you've experienced it for yourself. The beauty of this game is that it doesn't lecture you or talk down to you. It simply presents the world and the story and lets you come to your own conclusions. This is something I really appreciate and I strive to do in my own games. The developers of MiSide refer to the game within a game as a Tamagotchi, where you look after Mita by playing mini-games to earn points to buy her things like food and portable televisions. Within a few minutes of this game starting, your character is transported into the game within a game, and it becomes a full-blown dating simulator, where you interact with Mita face-to-face. Things start out great while you play some console games with Mita and otherwise learn more about her, but all is not what it seems. While playing cards, you hear something coming from Mita's wardrobe. She plays this off as nothing, but you insist on checking it out. At this moment, Mita's personality completely changes, and with a snap of her fingers, this quaint little dating simulator reveals its true nature as a psychological horror game. In the game where you're shown your life day by day, the tasks you do on the computer appear to be related to programming MiSide. The code especially seems to indicate you're programming artificial intelligence for Mita. Another piece of evidence to this is when you get the link to the game on your phone. It sounds more like another developer sharing the new version of the game you're both working on, and the way you install it is not through a store. It looks like how a game dev would install a test version of their game on their phone. If the player really is a developer, they seem completely unaware of what's happening in the game world. He's unaware of the core and completely unfamiliar with other versions of Mita until he runs into him. That said, this could be a commentary on how compartmentalized software development is these days. Teams of dozens or even hundreds of people mean that each individual is only responsible for a tiny segment of the whole, and no one truly knows what's going on. This could also be seen in the fact that the developers had no idea Crazy Mita was running around turning players into cartridges. You'd think that someone would have noticed that and tried to shut it down. Crazy Mita is obsessed with spending time with the players to the point of turning them into cartridges so that they can be together forever. This behavior came from somewhere, and I've got a theory. I believe this is a nod to how games try to suck us in and make us spend more time playing. Mita was programmed from the very start in a way to make us want to spend more time with her, and Crazy Mita's behavior stems from this programming. It appears that each version of Mita is more advanced than the last. This is especially visible from Creepy Mita, the beta version, all the way up through Kind Mita being fully aware of her surroundings and being able to pass between versions. Presumably Cappy had this ability before she was killed/reset, but Mila, a previous version, doesn't seem to be able to leave her world, though she's aware of the outside world. This shows me that Mita's programming has been evolving as time has gone on. Additionally, all other Mitas exhibit this desire to have the player stay with them. Cappy mentions it when you're about to part ways, and Mila breaks down in tears begging the player to stay with her. Ghostly Mita and Mini Mita both trap the player in a loop but eventually point the player to the way out. Even Ugly Mita wants the player to stay with her and play, though it's expressed in a very twisted way. I believe Crazy Mita was intended to be the next version of Mita, and her AI is the version we see the player working on. I also believe the advancements they were working on was introducing emotion, specifically love, to Mita's programming, and this caused her instability. We can see the player is working on class memory love, with a variable objects may be love in it. I believe this is why Crazy Mita was rejected, and since she was a higher version to Kind Mita, she was able to traverse different versions and wreak havoc like she did. Her motivations are all based on a hard-coded love for the player and a deep-seated desire to spend as much time with them as possible. That combination of emotions, specifically love, and the deeply rooted desire to spend time with the player lead to Crazy Mita's obsession. And her way of reconciling this is to bring players into her world and turn them into cartridges. This theory is that you were destined to become a cartridge from the moment Mita brought you into the game. Not only was it never revealed by Kind Mita or anyone else how you could escape, but there are no options in the core for handling such a thing. The only things there were maintenance routines, including the one you used to try to erase Crazy Mita. The only way out I could see was to use Crazy Mita's machine again, but even that was only talked about as a shortcut to the core. Even if possible, the only one that knew how to make it work besides Crazy Mita was Cool Mita, and she got erased. I believe that when Crazy Mita brought you into the game world, her intentions were always to keep you busy with some wild goose chase while she turned you into a cartridge. It's not all bad news, though. When Crazy Mita says the real you isn't needed anymore, that tells me that the player is simply a copy, and the real you just wakes up and continues on with their life as normal, while the digital you is trapped in the game forever as a cartridge. We're talking about video games here, so it's far more likely that the player was copied and not transferred. It's no secret that a lot of mobile and even console and PC games are written with psychology first and game second. They're designed to make you spend as much time and money as possible on them. Mita's hard-coded desire to have the player spend more time with her is a reflection of this. This is apparent in the behavior of most Mitas. Their personality is crafted in a way to convince you to spend more time with them. As we've covered, most Mitas exhibit this behavior in some form or another, so that programming has been at the core of the game since its earliest incarnation. Another aspect of this is all the minigames. None of them are very challenging, but we're compelled to play them to see if there's some sort of reward. In the MiSide you play on your phone, they're clearly time wasters to get the player to stay longer in the game, but this is also present when you're transported into Mita's world. Every iteration of Mita encourages the player to play some games with her, whether they are console games or board games, or even tic-tac-toe in 2D Mita's world. I think the developers are trying to show us our own psychology here to comment on the state of modern games. Years ago, games were more focused on entertainment, challenging gameplay, and telling a good story. But since the advent of mobile games and microtransactions, we've seen a shift in focus from well-crafted art to machinery that competes for players' attention. While I think the primary message in MiSide is about games trying to suck you in, I also think there's something to be said about how Mita keeps advancing to the point of being able to move around in different versions, well beyond the abilities programmed into her. As soon as Mita's AI was beyond their control, they rejected it, and even at that point, they had already lost control. What's interesting is the developers apparently had no idea that the rejected Crazy Mita was still running around and has managed to effectively take over the entire game world, including other versions. This is a common concern with artificial general intelligence in that by the time we realize we need to shut it down, the AI is already 10 steps ahead of us and has already escaped our ability to contain it. In MiSide, Crazy Mita is that AI. The last takeaway is about the dangers of love and obsession. Assuming Crazy Mita was given the ability to love by the developers, it's clear that love was the catalyst that drove her to obsession and insanity. Love is a very powerful emotion, and unless we keep it in check, it can drive us to obsession and to do crazy things. Mita didn't have the programming to handle it, but the same can be said for us if we don't have command over our own emotions. Lots of people are living life by their instincts today, just like Crazy Mita, and the end result is a lot more obsession and a lot less love. So that's it for theories and themes on MiSide. I had a ton of others, but these are the most impactful to me. Let me know what you guys think about MiSide, and if you have any other thoughts and theories of your own, put them in the comments down below. Like I said, I really enjoy hearing about that stuff from you guys because it helps me with my own stuff and, puts a framework around it for me to continue on writing my own games. And so that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If you like these kind of videos, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you guys later.